Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we're going to talk about Netflix's Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, based on the book A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket, Season 1, Episode 6. It's called The Wide Window Part 2. Full spoilers for the episode, as always.
By the time we get to the end of this, you keep adding it. It's going to be 20 minutes of just the title.
Yeah, credit to...
So the worst part is, I can think of the next edition based on that one.
Oh, can you? Yeah,
I can.
Go on, tell
Oh,
me.
I'm going to save it. It's gonna. We'll tell you off air, and you can add it into the next one.
Okay. Credit to a commenter on one of the last videos for that edition, based on a book by that was theirs, and I thought I like the way this guy thinks. I'm adding that in. But yeah, so this is the second half of the third story in the season. We set up Aunt Jocelyn and Josephine. I keep saying Jocelyn. Josephine and Olaf is the captain, Captain Sham, and he's got the peg leg, and he seems to have been foul play. She appeared to have committed suicide at the end of the last episode, and they found a suicide note. And we start obviously right where that kind of left off, which I thought there was a good bit of emotion in the first Lemony Snicket scene where he's standing
Yeah.
again on the sort of the rubble of where the house was, and the camera just sort of slowly tracks in as one of the best pieces of music that Howard did for this show.
Yeah.
It's played a few times. It's a really sort of sad theme that plays.
Yeah. It's kind of like the haunting emotional piece.
Yeah. I really like that theme, and that played as it sort of tracked in, and I'm like, oh, this is really emotional.
Yeah, James Newton has done a great job.
I like him a lot, actually. He's done a lot of good stuff. But so I thought that worked really well. Anyway, so the gist of this one is that they're trying to prove that the suicide note is a fake because they spot a bunch of grammar errors, and her running thing since we've been introduced to her, apart from being scared of everything, is that she's a grammar
She
Nazi.
loves grammar. Yeah.
Grammar Nazi. I think it's quite a. I think in this
Yeah,
case,
it's fair.
it's pretty fair. She criticizes
Yeah, like-
everything.
This is the next level. Like some people will say, "Oh, you're a grammar Nazi," if someone corrects you online.
Yeah.
But she will interrupt your sentences to correct you.
Even when Sonny just makes a noise, she goes, "I don't know what that was, but I'm going to assume there was a mistake."
Yeah. That's straight up grammar Nazi.
Yeah, and they realise that so they decipher the note. But meanwhile, while they're trying to decipher this, of course, Mr. Poe doesn't believe them, and he's like, "Oh, she said that she'll leave you to this nice captain. He's going to take us out for a brunch," and we get this great scene of them out at brunch, and they're getting cheeseburgers and whatnot. And of course, the waiter's the guy who was seen kidnapped by Olaf in the last episode, who runs this restaurant. So he's trying to give them hidden messages in the food and whatnot. My MVP for this episode, for comedy, is Hookman, who was repeatedly, this episode, cracking me up. One of my favourites was, it's after I think the waiter takes out the cheeseburgers and he comes back out of the kitchen and they're all eating their own cheeseburgers or whatever they're eating, and Hookman
And
just
he's
says,
just got it between the hooks.
he's got it between the hooks, but then he just sort of laughs and says, "And you'll have to do all the dishes." And it just really made me laugh.
It was the other one that was cracking me up as well, though. You know, the deadpan sarcasm. I don't know which one that his name is.
Ah, yeah, the one with the long hair, yeah.
Yeah, the one that's kind of the most normal.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Kinda.
have any sort of identify. Like you've got Hook Hand, you got like the twin women basically.
Big bald
you got,
guy.
You got the big bald guy, yeah, and then you've just got other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was cracking me up. The other one was towards the end, because obviously the episode develops. They find Aunt Josephine in the cave, and she ends up dying. Olaf pushes her off his boat, and we'll talk a bit more about that plot detail. I'm not brushing over it. I'm just getting to the little joke that I liked. Is at the end when when someone says that Olaf murdered her in cold blood, Hookman just pipes in with cold water, actually.
That was good.
Yeah, so he was cracking me up.
The comedy on point was generally on point in this episode because again there was some adult humor as well. Well, not necessarily adult, but stuff that would go over kids' heads. Like the reference to McCarthyism cracked me up.
Oh, one I liked, actually, a really simple one, Mr. Poe at the start, when he's trying to console the kids, and it's Klaus is saying, "Oh no, it was Olaf was tricking her, and she fell for it hook, line, and sinker," and he's just like, "Now's not a time for a fisherman joke."
That was good. That was good.
Yeah, his refusal to believe that it's Olaf is becoming such a funny thing in and of itself, just because it's so blatant and no one believes him. In fact, when it reveals that Josephine found out, and it's like, oh yeah, I found out. He told me. Well, we're just halfway through our fried egg sandwiches, and literally all he does is lift up the eye patch, and it's like, that's enough. It's like, oh my god, it's Olaf.
I know. I love that he steals the other half a fried egg.
Yeah. Actually, do you know one of the funniest things she did in this episode? So after they get her back and they're on the little sailboat, and they're going into the leech territory.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you've not eaten anything, have you? And she just sort of looks terrified and goes, banana. And it's the way she said, it's the delivery of the line cracked me up so much. Because for someone who's been so strict about grammar, she just says it on its own with no words in front of it, no words behind it, just banana. I had a banana. And then we see the leeches come in, and it's. But that was a really funny line. So yeah, they decipher the code, and we have this. They get to the cave eventually, but they start off with in the restaurant with Olaf, and Olaf's as Captain Sham is trying to get Poe to do all the paperwork, which he's getting all that stuff done, and they're making. There was a lot of funny stuff, and there's a lot. I can't really remember all the specific lines because there was so much banter going back and forth.
It was just constantly back and forth in that scene.
Yeah, it was constantly back and forth, and I think Olaf's reactions to everything were cracking me up, and the way he was like agreeing with Mr. Poe and saying, "Oh, that's really well said," and just little things.
I think my favorite ones was he was going on about first he was saying, "Oh, he didn't know they had a fortune," and then he was saying, "Oh, I'm going to be so fortunate to have these kids."
Oh, there was another one at the end as well. There'll be a fortune to me in my life. Was something like I said later
They're
on.
sprinkled throughout.
Yeah, just, again, a lot of good wordplay, which ties with this theme of like all the meaning of words and the grammar. Like they're constantly putting that throughout. It's actually, I never thought this would be such a fun theme.
Yeah, it's weird that it is, but it really works.
Yeah, I almost wonder, like, what's the next one going to be? Like the next two part, is that going to have its own, like, because we've had meaning of words, we've had grammar. Is the next one going to be, I don't know, synonyms? Like, is that going to be the theme for the next two episodes?
Who knows? And interestingly, this is as far as your knowledge at least goes, because this is all the movie covered.
Yeah, and I don't remember much of this one in the movie.
No, but even in general, like bits. I think I remember him kicking into the leeches.
I don't remember that. I vaguely remember a house and a cliff kind of thing, but that's about it.
It's quite a striking visual, to be fair.
It is. And the cliff, of course. Actually, that was the other laugh that I got, is the cliff. When the hurricane starts hitting, the house falls off a cliff, and we get this ridiculously over-the-top scene of them like sliding down.
It really turns up the ridiculous in this one.
It does.
Even for this show.
The baby's holding on to the doorknob with her teeth, and they're sliding down, and we get, Klaus finds the photo, like, his parents in it with everyone else, and Monty from the last part and all that.
Yeah.
And he ends up doing like a flip and stuff to get back out. And
it's the way the house is falling, and then it kind of flips back up, and then it's like, oh no, we're falling again.
That said, I would call this a joke, right? A simple little touch, a little joke, is the thing that eventually makes the house tumble over, because it seems like it's all settled, and one of the limes from the bag of limes that she bought in the last episode rolls down into the back room that's teetering off the edge, and rolls to the edge, and it collapses the house. But the little touch that that's funny in and of itself, but the little touch that I really love is that on its way there, it goes through the house of cards and tumbles them. Yeah. It's a neat little bit of foreshadowing that it does the house of cards, and then it does the whole house.
That said, could just about how great the baby was in this one.
Oh, the baby was great in this one.
This might have been some of my favourite baby moments.
I'll go on then. Give us one.
So obviously there's the house of cards. Just casually just sitting there building that.
Yeah.
The other one, which proper cracked me up, was as they were going to go into the cave, and they were talking about the wind and how it shouldn't be scary, but they're scared anyway.
Oh, man up.
And Sonny just comes out and goes, man up. Yeah.
Man up. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh, that got me good, that did.
So after the house goes down, because they basically give themselves an allergic reaction to the peppermints to get out of the dinner scene, and they go back to the house. All that stuff happens with the house collapsing, and they trace they sort of crack the code in the suicide note, which leads them to the cave, and they have to steal a sailboat. And I actually really loved the way it cut to Snicket explaining all the things that were wrong with this, as it was intercut with them stealing the boat and stealing the raincoats and everything else. And it really built it up, and because even though when they're on the boat, it's very clearly not on a real lake. It's very fake and phony, and that it fits the style of the show, but it's kind of that. But it gives it this extra weight where he's talking about how dangerous it is and how It's like, again, one of the words that he explains is plethora, and like how there's a plethora of ways this could go wrong, and it
It's just like they're too long to tell you, but I'm going to try anyway.
yeah, he gives us a few of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
just the way it all set that up, and the way it felt like a really dangerous mission, I thought was actually well handled from a directing point of view. I think, I think when they get to her though, when they get to the Anne, I feel like that's maybe my weakest part of the episode.
Mm.
It's just I don't know why, but for some reason when they get into the cave and she's just there and she just wants to live there, it feels all I don't know, just kind of like, all right, we get it. You're scared of everything.
Yeah, it kind of was a little bit too much.
That said, another big laugh I had though was how they get her out of the cave.
Mm.
They set
That
up
was
in the last episode that she has a irrational fear of real estate agents, and they were saying, "Oh, did you not see the sign outside? This cave's for sale." And it's the way Klaus walks up close to her, leans in, and says, "And that means you're going to have to meet some people who come in here. Real estate agents."
It's good.
It's the way he plays it because he knows he's doing it intentionally to scare her.
Yeah,
It works so well. And then that's when we get them back on the boat. The leeches come. Then Olaf and his crew come and get them on the
Well,
bigger
no, you
boat.
have the bit with the parents over the top of that.
Oh, of course. How could we forget this ridiculous moment? So the parents are on the plane. We've seen them getting to the plane in the last episode. In this episode, they're on the plane, flying through the air, and they're trying to get to the island because they're getting to the kids. And as the boats, they're wanting help, and they're trying to signal for help while the boat's kind of sinking from the leeches. And Violet's lit a fire, and Klaus is banging on a bucket.
They're trying to light the fire first. This is what causes it, isn't it? Because
Oh, of course,
they
yeah,
want
of
to
course,
use the
yeah.
magnifying glass stuff essentially.
Yeah,
They're like, oh, we need something to refract it first because it's at the wrong angle.
Yeah, so we get a scene up in the sky on the plane of the parents, and they're like, "Oh, there's someone down there. Let's use these binoculars to look down," and it refracts off the binoculars. This perfect laser beam off the binoculars, and it lights the fire.
It's glorious ridiculousness.
Which is, it's funny because it actually kind of accomplishes nothing.
Yeah,
And unless you could argue that Olaf's boat only sees them because of that. In which
maybe,
case-
but he was searching for them, and
Yeah.
the storm had passed, so he probably would have found them anyway.
And then they realise their plane's going down, and that's the last we see of them
Yeah.
in this episode. And that's when we get the whole scene where Josephine finally sticks up for herself and the kids, and
Has to go with his grammar.
has a go at his grammar, calls him a bad actor again. That wasn't the exact wording, but she insults his acting, and then everyone's like, once again. That's another favourite running joke, that all the relatives they go to are eventually going to insult his acting ability.
Yeah.
That'd be good fun. And he kicks her off into the water, which, by the way, kind of dark death scene.
It is kind of dark. I mean, it's not shying away from being dark, is it?
Yeah, and at the end, the kids sneak off when they realise that they're placing the photograph, the factory.
The Lucky Lumber Mill.
Yeah, they sneak off in a truck that's going there, and then Olaf and his crew sneak away in a car.
I love that they do like a full-on, cartoonish sneak walk.
Yeah, that's great. Also, I love that Sonny chews off his peg leg.
And his other one just pops out. Where was it?
I feel like he was just having it. It was like he just had it up behind him, like he had his knee on the peg leg, but he just never stood like in a way that you would see it.
I know, but it's just like, what?
Again, cartoony. You just kind of have to.
I know,
go
but
with
it's
it.
like, I mean, he gets credit for being a bad actor, but he's clearly a very good costume designer and makeup artist.
You know it is, and I will say this is that Neil Patrick Harris kind of just disappears into the character.
He does.
Actually, one of the comments pointed this out. I don't know if you were noticing this. We talked about how the opening song changes depending on which two-parter it is.
Yeah.
Did you notice that when he sings the part that's specific to that episode, he does it in the character's voice that he's playing?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, and someone pointed it out, so I was looking for it in this one, and sure enough,
Yeah.
it's the captain's voice that he's doing it in. So that's pretty fun. So yeah, we end off. This one ends differently than the first couple of two-parters, which I think is cool. I think that is a nice change because it doesn't end with them going with Mr. Poe. The kids are actually sneaking in a truck away.
Yeah, and it feels like it's big going into this end part of the season.
Yeah, this two-part finale for the season essentially. So it does make it feel a little bit different the way it ends, and that's cool. And obviously Olaf's still around, which makes me wonder: will Olaf still be costuming next episode? He probably will. In fact, I know he is because I've seen the screenshot on Netflix.
I haven't, but I was willing to bet he would be anyway, because that's kind of the show's thing.
I don't know
isn't
specifically, but do you want me to tell you the broad stroke of what he's dressing up as?
it? Go on then.
A woman.
I'm looking forward to seeing Neil Patrick Harris do this one.
Yeah, because I did a double take. It was a screenshot. I was like, that's the next one. Wait a minute, is that? Oh, it is. Okay, that's Neil Patrick Harris. Very good.
Joe, there's something I really like about the production design of this episode and the last one as well. I noticed in the last one how it was really dark and drab and very gothic when they got to, like the whole town.
Yeah, yeah.
But then it's like that all the way through, and then you get to the end, and it's when they look over at that you can see the lumber mill, and it's all bright and sunny and like nice.
Well, yeah, because the last two part of the reptile room was all very very yellow and orangey looking, very bright and
Yeah.
kind of like deserty because and green as well because there was a lot of hedges and stuff. But
Yeah.
it kind of felt like deserty.
And the first one
theme.
had the dichotomy of like Olaf's house and then across the street for Strauss's.
And then
like,
this two-parter was very grim and dark looking and very drab. And yeah, you say because the next one will probably have its own color scheme, and I think that's very smart. Speaking of color schemes, I loved it when they steal the raincoats. Maybe this was just my nerd brain, but it felt very Superman because one was red, one was blue, and one was yellow.
I get it.
And it was Sunny in the yellow, and she's the smallest one, and
Yeah,
that's the smallest
smallest
color.
bit of the costume. Yeah, I felt the same.
I don't know. I was just like, oh, this just feels Superman. So.
Yeah.
Still enjoying the show. This was another fun one. Olaf's antics are always enjoyable.
They are, and like I said, I'm enjoying the mix of comedy that is just outright surreal ridiculousness.
Speaking of the comedy, I just remembered the other Hookman moment that I loved because I knew there was three that stuck out.
Go on.
It's when the waiter answers the phone. It's the old school phone with the earpiece
yeah.
and the mouthpiece.
And he's trying to use it.
And he doesn't understand how it works, and he's trying to talk into the wrong bit, and then he tries to listen into the wrong bit, and it's just...
And he's just flicking it about with his hooks.
Yeah, it just... the whole thing cracks me up.
So good, yeah.
Hookman's good. Hookman's definitely comedy number 2 behind Olaf, and...
Oh, definitely.
Maybe Sunny. I mean, you could argue Sunny's higher, I don't know, but...
Yeah.
Those are the three standouts in terms of...
Yeah, but like I say, I enjoy the mixture of this surreal, over-the-top, ridiculous antics that we get, combined with these subtle jokes that only adults will get.
Yeah, and then some really dark moments, and then some kind of emotional narration from Lemony Snicket.
Yeah, I think Snicket's been handled excellently, actually. Like, it's always intercut at just the right point. It never feels out of place.
Yeah, and it'll disappear for a lot of the episode where he doesn't need to be there. Because I think one of the concerns you'd have of someone saying, oh, I'm going to do this thing where the writer, the narrator of the story is going to come in. I'd be like, yeah, but will that just replace you actually showing me things? Like, will you just tell me X, Y, and
That's
Z?
the thing. It never does. It always keeps showing it you. Because he's just there, but then gives you extra stuff.
It adds a bit of flavour on top of what's happening whenever it shows up.
It does, and it adds like this extra bit of style to the show. It's really its own thing.
Yeah, it's style, and the other thing it does, and it's done this a few times, where it'll foreshadow something, like it'll tell you in advance, oh, someone's dead, someone's going to die.
Oh, that's the other one that cracked me up from the baby.
What?
So it's the aunt on there. They're on the sailboat.
Yeah.
And she's going, nobody throw me overboard because she's the one that's eaten. And the baby just goes, dramatic irony.
Yeah, that's a callback. That's a good callback. Actually, I just remembered another joke that I loved.
Because that's a callback and a flash forward at the same time. It's great.
It's when they're on the ship with Olaf, and during the aunt's speech, she says, my house could fall off a cliff for all I care, and it cuts to the kids, and Clint's just like, later. Oh, that cracked me up so much. Oh, the show's really funny. It's really witty. A lot of small jokes hidden amongst bigger jokes. A lot of running jokes.
And that's what I think the comedy's there for everyone, because young children will enjoy just the over-the-top antics, whereas there's these smarter wordplay things for the older people.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, another solid episode. So we're looking forward to the final two-parter, which we are doing today into tonight. This will definitely be finished. But
it will. No matter what we've said on all the other times where we've delayed, this will be done.
Yeah, because we said this one would probably be the end of last night, and it wasn't. But that, you know what, we were one behind on Friday night, and it's knocked us off the whole way. But we're definitely finishing before the end of tonight. So that's been episode 6 of Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. You can let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. And by the way, I can't remember what it was, I don't have it in front of me, but someone did tell us, ironically, a word that we didn't know in the last episode, and they told us what the word was. Although I was disappointed in the comment didn't phrase it like Lemony Snicket would. Like, I thought they might say the word and say, which in this case means, which is how he says it, but they didn't. So I'm a lot disappointed Jaden for that. But thanks for telling us all the same. I think it was panphobia. It was the fear of everything. Because we were talking about how it's not hypochondria, there was a more specific word.
Yeah.
Panophobia,
makes sense.
I believe was the word they told us. I'll double check later, but thanks very much for that. It helps us out. So like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out too. And yeah, we'll see you later on for episode 7.